She never thought she'd see him again, not after that one unforgettable night. But 5 years later, he walks back into her life, this time as her billionaire boss. He doesn't remember her. He doesn't know he has a daughter, until the day he meets a 5-year-old girl, a little girl who looks exactly like him. Now the question is, when the truth finally hits him, what will he do? Amara James was used to doing everything alone. She woke up every morning before the sun, packed her daughter's lunch, dressed her for school, and rushed out to catch a bus to work. Life hadn't been kind, but she had learned to survive. Her 5-year-old daughter, Zara, was the reason she kept going. Smart, sweet, and full of questions, Zara was her little miracle and her biggest secret. No one knew who Zara's father was. Not even Amara could say for sure. All she remembered was a night 5 years ago when she let her guard down at a friend's birthday party. She had just lost her father and needed to feel something other than pain. That night, she met a handsome stranger with sad eyes and a kind smile. They talked, danced, and ended up in a hotel room. She never saw him again and never got his name. Now, years later, Amara was struggling more than ever. Her job at the cafe barely covered rent, and her landlord had just raised it again. The stress was eating her up inside. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. Her best friend, Chioma, burst into the cafe holding a job flyer. "Amara, you won't believe this. Coltech is hiring a personal assistant to the CEO. 6 figures. Full benefits. Girl, this could change your life." Amara laughed at first. "Me? Work for a billionaire CEO? With what experience?" But Chioma wasn't joking. "You've got a degree. You're smart. You're organized. And let's be honest, you've got no choice." That night, after Zara fell asleep, Amara sat in front of her old laptop, heart pounding, and typed up her application. She clicked submit and whispered a prayer. She had no idea the man she was about to work for was the same man who gave her the greatest gift of her life, and forgot all about her. Amara had no idea how she made it through the interview process. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was prayer. Or maybe, just maybe, it was fate. A week after applying, she got the call that changed everything. "Hello, is this Miss Amara James? This is HR from Coltech. The CEO would like to meet you in person." Her heart nearly stopped. The CEO himself? "Yes. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Please come to the top floor." Amara barely slept that night. She borrowed a cream-colored blouse and black skirt from Chioma and pressed it until it looked brand new. She tied her natural hair into a neat bun and practiced answering questions in the mirror. The next morning, she dropped Zara off at school, whispered a prayer, and walked into Coltech, nervous but determined. The office was huge. Glass walls, sparkling floors, and workers who looked like they stepped out of fashion magazines. The receptionist smiled. "Top floor, Miss James. Mr. Cole is expecting you." Amara stepped into the elevator. Her hands were sweating. When the doors opened, her breath caught in her throat. There he was, Jason Cole, the man from 5 years ago. He sat behind a glass desk, typing something on his laptop. He looked older, sharper, dressed in a tailored navy blue suit. His hair was shorter now, and a faint scar ran along his temple. But those eyes, deep brown, intense, were unforgettable. He looked up and smiled politely. "Miss James, I'm Jason Cole. Please have a seat." Amara froze. He didn't recognize her. She slowly sat, heart thudding. "Thank you for seeing me, sir." Jason nodded, reading her CV. "Your qualifications are impressive. Why do you want this job?" She opened her mouth, but words failed her. Her mind raced. He was Zara's father, and he had no idea. "I need a fresh start," she whispered. Jason nodded thoughtfully. "So do I." Amara got the job. She could hardly believe it. One day she was serving coffee in a stained apron, and the next she was walking through a luxury office building as the new personal assistant to one of Nigeria's most powerful CEOs. From the outside, it looked like a dream, but inside, her stomach was in knots. Every time she stepped into Jason Cole's office, Memories from 5 years ago came rushing back. His voice, his touch, the way he had looked at her that night like she was the only girl in the world. And now, he barely looked twice. He had no idea. Jason kept things professional. He was calm, serious, and a little too quiet. Amara could tell he didn't smile much, not the way she remembered. His assistant from HR had mentioned his car accident in passing, saying it had changed him. She didn't ask for more details. She already knew the truth that mattered. Jason didn't remember her, and she wasn't sure if that made it better or worse. At home, Zara was full of questions. "Mummy, how's your new boss? Is he nice?" Amara hesitated. "Yes, he's okay." "Does he have kids?" Amara froze. "No, I don't think so." Zara blinked. "Oh, he should. He looks like a daddy." Amara smiled sadly. "Yeah, maybe someday." She was walking on thin ice, and she knew it. One slip, one wrong word, and everything could fall apart. She hadn't even told Chioma the full truth. Not yet. The worst part? Every day she spent with Jason, she saw more of him in Zara. Her smile, her stubborn chin, the way she tilted her head when she was curious. Amara had kept the secret for 5 years. But now, she was working side by side with the man who had unknowingly fathered her child. And the secret was getting harder to keep. Jason Cole had hired many assistants over the years, but there was something different about Amara James. She was quiet, polite, and efficient, but there was a softness in her eyes that made him pause. A certain sadness she tried to hide behind smiles. She never looked at him the way most women did. No flirting. No fake laughs. Just calm professionalism and something else. Something he couldn't name. Sometimes, when she thought he wasn't looking, she stared at him like she knew him. Deeply. Personally. And that bothered him more than he wanted to admit. One afternoon, he asked her to help sort out some files in his penthouse home office, an extension of his work life. She hesitated at first, but he insisted. "It'll be easier there. I hate distractions." So after work, Amara followed him home, carrying her bag and a heavy heart. The penthouse was sleek and modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked Lagos Island. Amara had never been in a place like it. She tried to focus on the files, but her thoughts kept drifting to Zara and to Jason. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a video call from Chioma, and sitting in front of the phone screen was Zara, holding up a drawing. "Mummy, look what I made in school." Amara smiled. "Eh?" But before she could end the call, Jason looked up from his laptop and froze. On the screen was a 5-year-old girl with bright brown eyes, soft curls, and a little gap in her front teeth. She looked just like him. He stared, speechless. Who is that?" Amara's heart dropped. She swallowed hard and forced a smile. "My daughter." Jason blinked slowly, still staring. "She looks familiar." Amara laughed nervously. People say that all the time. But Jason didn't laugh. His eyes remained fixed on the screen. Something had just shifted. A seed had been planted. And Amara knew there was no turning back. Jason couldn't sleep that night. After Amara left his penthouse, her daughter's face kept flashing through his mind. The resemblance wasn't just casual, it was striking. The same eyes, the same nose, even the same way she tilted her head with curiosity. Something didn't sit right. He didn't know much about Amara's personal life. She kept to herself, rarely spoke about family, and always changed the subject when things got too personal. That was fine, he didn't like small talk anyway. But now, curiosity gripped him like a vice. The next morning, he found himself watching Amara more closely. She noticed. "Is everything okay, sir?" she asked gently, handing him his morning coffee. Jason nodded slowly. "Just tired." But his mind was racing. He opened her file on his laptop during lunch. Nothing strange stood out. Graduate of University of Lagos. Former waitress. No known family. A single mother. No mention of Zara's father. He stared at the empty space where a name should have been. The silence was deafening. Meanwhile, Amara could feel the shift. Jason had gone quiet again, but not his usual cold, distant quiet. This time, it felt like suspicion. That night, she sat with Chioma in their small kitchen, her head in her hands. "I think he's starting to suspect," she whispered. Chioma's eyes widened. "You didn't tell him yet?" "I can't," Amara said, her voice cracking. "What if he takes Zara from me? What if he says I lied?" Chioma touched her arm. "But he has a right to know, Amara." Amara shook her head. "Not until I'm sure. Not until I know he won't hurt her." She was torn between truth and fear, between protecting her daughter and facing the man she had once loved for a single, unforgettable night. But what she didn't know was this. Jason had already called his private investigator, and answers were coming, whether she was ready or not. Jason wasn't a man who liked being in the dark. That night, he sat alone in his study, staring at two pictures side by side, one of himself as a child and one of Amara's daughter, Zara, which he had quietly screenshotted during their video call. The resemblance was almost scary. His investigator, Mr. Ade, called just after 9 p.m. "Sir, I did a basic background check on Miss Amara James like you requested. There's something you need to see." Jason leaned forward. "Go on." "She gave birth to a baby girl 5 years ago. No father listed on the birth certificate. Hospital records confirm she was living in Suralere at the time. She wasn't working. No known boyfriend." Jason's throat went dry. "Do you have a photo of the child?" "I'm still looking into school records, but sir..." Ade paused. "I saw the girl outside her school today. She looks like you. Exactly like you." Jason ended the call without saying another word. He couldn't deny it anymore. Something had happened between him and Amara. Something he couldn't remember. But why hadn't she told him? The next day, Jason watched Amara closely as she worked beside him. She was quiet, focused, but he noticed how she jumped every time her phone buzzed. How her eyes avoided his. She was hiding something, and now he was sure what it was. "Amara," he said suddenly, breaking the silence. She looked up, startled. "Yes, sir?" He stared at her for a long moment. "Have we met before?" "Before this job?" Her hands trembled slightly. I don't think so." He nodded, still watching her. "Are you sure?" Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Jason didn't push. Not yet. But the storm had already begun. And Amara could feel it closing in. She just didn't know how much longer she could lie.